We're predominantly talking about complex drugs, drugs that can either be extracted from plants, extracted from biotech process, can be extracted from human plasma, from blood. The desired protein in there is mixed with thousands of other things, and you need to find a way to efficiently extract it such that you have in a vial a pure protein that is the drug that you intend to treat patients with. The challenges that these companies have is either that the CFO is not pleased with their yield, the margin's not good enough, they need a better recovery, or the regulators, the FDA for example, is not happy with the impurity profile, which may lead to side effects once it's commercialized. And usually those two don't work well together, because the more pure you try to get, you will lose in the yield, and the CFO is not happy and the regulator is not happy. So usually companies that came to us early stage were very desperate companies. They tried with off-the-shelf solutions offered by multinationals. We are first used for them to manufacture clinical trial material, and then they run their test. If they're successful, this means that we'll end up with an annuity revenue of sales to them for the life of their product. So we're dependent on their success. We're hopefully enabling them to be successful by having a higher purity drug. What we like in our model is we do have a fair percentage of clients, pharmaceutical company, who have an established product that they're looking to improve upon, to create a new generation. That's better for us, less risky. I was introduced to the entrepreneurs then who were architecting that spin-off. And the business model came to me just listening to what they had. What they had is a technology that can be applied to help a product become better. And I thought, well, that's a Velcro model. We make Velcro. Velcro can fit on Pampers, on ski boots, on hockey, military gears. And we'll sell the Velcro, and we'll design the Velcro according to their needs, and that's the business model. That was it. Boom. So simple. I mean, we're $650 million later. I was damn right, but it took a little longer to get there. It became obvious that we needed component to help wrap the offering, and that I started creating here in Laval. They could not afford to invest in this, and it was easier to raise money here locally. We have R&D facility, manufacturing facility, and head office with a subsidiary in Rockville and doing R&D, product development, a subsidiary in Cambridge doing R&D, manufacturing on the other hand. So we're a mini multinational of about 300 employees between the UK, the US, and Canada. The relationship with the American Red Cross has been, I would say, interesting on many fronts. It has been scientifically a massive success. Fortunately for us, we went through a very, very difficult period that nearly put the company down. When Katrina, the hurricane that hit New Orleans, created so much havoc in the U.S., and the American Red Cross was asked by Congress to focus on disaster relief and to stop operations that were not linked to disaster relief. So here we are with our little flag saying, well, all of a sudden we're at risk of losing all the IP, intellectual property that's been generated, lose all the know-how, and lose a funding partner that, have been with us for 5 years. And the Red Cross didn't want to see the work get lost, so we came to an agreement where we bought all the rights back and converted the American Red Cross involvement from a shareholding position in a joint venture into a royalty stream. So that served the purpose of them not being in operations, but still involved. And we recovered all the intellectual property, recovered all the employees that became proud ProMedic employees of a subsidiary born in the US as a result of that. But all of this, I'm making it sound great, is at the same time as Wall Street read into this that technology doesn't work. And our stock plunge, right, from a couple of dollars a share to pennies a share, whilst we have to raise more money to fund all this. So we were not very popular in those days. We didn't have enough money. We were late on the pays. We were late on payables. And when I say late in payables, like a year late on payables. We haven't lost any employees during that phase. It was very, very interesting. The company became extremely tight. I mean, it formed a unit of mercenaries, let's put it that way, because everyone in there believed in the cause, believed in the just cause of what we were trying to do, and that we would prevail. We had recourse to very unconventional means to finance the company. We also were fortunate enough to have Big Pharma who relied on us to supply them key components to their process, and therefore it was important for them to have us healthy and alive. All those elements we were able to leverage, I would say, to navigate through the minefield. We started with the tough nut to crack. I mean, nobody would come to ProMedic with an easy one, otherwise they would have done it with the established players. So, but we made a name for ourselves. I remember, I think it's in the early 2000s, we were named the Bioseparation Company of the Year, okay, with $2 million revenue, whilst our competitors were all in the billion. That accolade didn't jive at all with the revenue. Right, and this is where I came to realize that we'll never get big enough, fast enough, if we rely on the success of others to drive ourselves. When you look at the pharmaceutical products, 95% of the sales are between North America, Europe, and Japan. But there's a growing market called emerging market. This is where you're talking serious growth. It's a complicated market because unless you have good relationship with governments and you know the whereabouts of how those economies work, it's very difficult to do business there. We have one export strategy, which is traditional, manufacture in North America and ship vials, ship products, ship drugs to other markets. But manufacturing products in Canada is far more expensive than other markets. And there are some markets that unless you manufacture locally, you're not going to get any support by the governments who ultimately buy those goods, especially in social markets such as Russia and China. So, second approach is export the platform. Clone our manufacturing platform that we've developed so that they can build at scale a plant in their country, manufacture locally, and you bring plasma as a raw material. We'll give you 5, 6, 7 drugs extracted from the plasma that would pass the test of the FDA or EMA. And very often we're told, you're going to do business, they're going to steal your technology, they're going to reverse engineer. Very difficult to reverse engineer. They probably tried. Good luck. That turnkey is virtually impossible to reverse engineer because it's too exhaustive, it takes too much time. This is the technology the FDA sanctioned. I'm not going to toy with it, I'm going to buy that. I'm going to pay the royalty, but locally my salary is lower, my cost of construction is lower, and I have the political incentive locally to sell domestically all my goods, right? So that's how we expand our business. Be different. And be different because most big pharma don't think that way. They want to control manufacturing and export. So many diseases are in relation to a genetic condition that makes a person unable to produce a certain protein. So some people may be born with not enough or not any coagulating factors in their blood. They'll be hemophiliac. You treat them by extracting from a healthy donor the factor, the protein that help the blood to coagulate. Some people are born with immunodeficiency, can't make any or enough antibodies. Very hard to live if you don't have any antibodies. You can die just out of a cold. So using our technology to extract efficiently proteins has enabled us to develop a pipeline of products that address unmet medical needs. So we are targeting various conditions, some of which are currently supplied by existing manufacturers, but we're coming in with a yield improvement, so our competitive edge there is far better yield, far better purity. But I would say more powerful is the fact that we can extract proteins that are not commercially available right now. And that's where we make a big difference. Again, don't compete, be different. Prometic is not necessarily using its technology to become a plasma fractionator per se. We're more a orphan drug company. And we're combining our capabilities to bring to market commodity products at better yield that will help subsidize the entire operation when we address orphan disease. If we can prove that it works in patients with cystic fibrosis, for example, there's 70,000 patients in the world, 40,000 in North America. The level of patients we need to put in a clinical trial to have an approval for the product to be sold and used in cystic fibrosis is far less than if you're trying to address chronic pulmonary disease that affects 300 million people. You see the point? But if we prove that it works in cystic fibrosis patient, then the jump to go to the next indication is not as steep also. So it's more of a stepwise approach. The challenge for Prometic is execution. You need to all those rolling plates that are spinning at a warp speed, making sure that your shareholder base follows the story. Because some who are very comfortable on the enabling model may be nervous about where you're going next. And some that are eager to see you going there may think you're not going fast enough. It took me a little while to realize that it was no longer my company. As a public company, it's live. Whatever is happening in Korea, in China. How does it affect us? It's always now. You can't escape it, and you got to ask yourself. I mean, many times I've had those conversation companies saying, "Oh, we're going public." Make sure you're doing it for the right reason. The only right reason is can't access capital for the need. They will write to us with pride. Being involved in a company that can make such difference in the health of somebody and be rewarded, obviously, through this. But there is this, the cause. How we make the products, where does that come from? All that will be forgotten eventually compared to the benefit that people in need. There's nothing more rewarding than to see desperate parents seeing all of a sudden a solution come available. I've lived personally through 2 deaths of kids. My first and third died of rare disease. It's a cause that motivates everybody from shareholders to employees. Everybody, in all cases, they're there for the cause.